Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Tech Tidbits. I'm your host, Jeff Lampe, Director of Marketing with the Arrow ECS Mocha Group. I'm pleased to be joined once again by Dean Miles, Director of the Mocha Group's Pre-Sales Engineering Team. Dean, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me back.
So on this segment, we continue our three-part series focusing on Sun's game-changing Amber Road open storage products. And last time around, we talked about some of the key terminology as well as the industries that would benefit the most from this solution. Today, we want to talk about specific features of the product set that differentiate Sun in the marketplace, and also talk about the competition. How does Sun sell against the likes of NetApp, EMC, and HDS? And also, what does that mean for the partner community as you're trying to market and take this technology to an end user audience that may not be fully aware of it? So Dean, why don't we start by discussing for our audience the Solaris ZFS operating system that is built into the Amber Road solution. How does that differentiate Sun in the marketplace?
Well, the ZFS file system is kind of a revolutionary thing now. It's changed the way file systems work. Let's put it that way. So it offers virtual storage pools. You don't have to separate the volume manager, meaning space can be shared dynamically, and multiple file systems. So going back to an earlier conversation, I don't have the same limitation that current file systems have. So it makes the management of it much easier, and it gives me that expandability. Eliminates silent data corruption. That's huge. And also creates higher performance by simplifying the paths. So normal file systems, it's like a 3-step process. This is now a 2-step process. And again, simplifies managerial aspect. The management of it, I don't need 27 admins to control ZFS. One guy can control, multiple spindles.
So Dean, for some of the marketing executives who are tuning into this broadcast, how do they take some of the functionality about ZFS that you just covered and incorporate that into their marketing efforts promoting the Amber Road solution?
Well, to me, what they did was they started really broadcasting or trying to really get out the message about the growth, the ability to expand out data. As we know, data is a growing issue in any major business. And from where we sit in the business, we watch this time and time again, data growth. What is it annual? It's 100%, it's 180%. So they didn't really specify ZFS as we would have liked them to, but what they did was they talked about the ability of Amber Road to scale.
So next, there's solid state storage devices, or SSDs for short. What does the audience need to know about those, and why are they important?
Well, solid state, again, some of the changing technologies within Sun. Solid state is the evolution of the hard drive. Not the standard conventional hard drive we're used to. No spindling spindles, none of the traditional pieces. It's really memory. It kind of works the same as the memory, conventional memory, DDR2 memory that exists in the system today. The benefits, speed. Much faster when you want to read information, which is one of the biggest factors. There are some downsides to them, but they're minimal. But the big things is lower power consumption and better reliability. Data is critical. We have to understand data is like the lifeblood of a business. So the easier we can access and get our information, the better off we are.
So in terms of the competition, NetApp, EMC, Hitachi, and the like, do they feature SSDs?
Not currently, no. I believe Sun is the first to bring SSD to the market from a storage capacity standpoint and using it the way they're using it. Most companies right now, they're selling SSD drives as an individual component, not to go in storage arrays, but more for maybe laptop applications, maybe some one-off type of situations. But Sun today currently is the only manufacturer really embracing the SSD architecture and bringing it into their current product set.
So in terms of marketing the solid state devices, is that something where if the channel partners target some key messaging towards the IT senior data center contact, is this something that would resonate with them as opposed, obviously, to the CFO? Would this be something that even the CFO would be aware of as being a benefit?
The CFO would not be aware. CTO would be more aware. The directors of IT would be more aware of the solid state devices. There are some discrepancies in the market right now about which one is more cost effective. But on an individual basis, you can always make that argument. Look at this as more like a solution. And in a solution set, we're taking two traditional technologies, bringing them together to give you better performance all the way around. So to answer your question, no, there's not a lot of information to give to a CFO except for understanding in the Amber Road solution, you get the speed, the reliability, you're getting the scalability that gives you a better long-term purchase.
Let's turn our attention now to monitoring. And Dean, it seems like Sun has a leg up on the competition there as well. There's the dTrace Analytics solution that is also a component of the Amber Road product suite. Talk for us about what that means to both the VAR and to the end customer.
So dTrace, I think that's one of the best kept secrets in Sun. But in saying that, what dTrace really is, it's an application that allows us to go in and see how to maneuver or how to modify, tweak the box to its maximum performance. The best analogy to use is think of it like a car or motorcycle. When you buy it, it's just a car. I mean, you like the features, you like everything about it, but you really want something that someone else has, some modifications per se. Here's an application that allows me to go in with the application, look at the data stream so we can look at how everything flows. And we can make a conscious determination as to how to modify the performance of this box. We can look at the box itself. We can look at the data paths itself. We can modify the I/O outputs. So dTrace becomes a very powerful tool to keep in your back pocket. For instance, let's say EMC NetApp against Amber Road. And let's say for a specific application, we're about 98% there. We can now take dTrace, modify the box, and pretty much put ourselves 100% right there to compete head-to-head with anything on the market.
So with all these game-changing features that Sun has as part of the Amber Road solution, no doubt the competition will be trying to counter these benefits out in the marketplace. What are our partners likely to see out there when it comes to promoting Amber Road at shops that are loyal to NetApp, EMC, and Hitachi?
Well, the loyalty is not loyalty because they love NetApp. So let's clear the air with that first. The loyalty becomes more of my investment is there and I'm invested millions of dollars there. To make a change, it's a huge change. So to really go after an EMC or a NetApp, it's possible. Yes, we can win those battles, but we have to take it into the right level. So let's not go for the whole cake. Let's just take a slice. That type of philosophy. So the question is, can Amber Road definitively compete against the competition? Yes, it can. With ZFS, with dTrace, and everything else, all we have to do is make the compelling argument of cost. Where is the ancillary cost going to come from? Oh, this is what the true savings is. When we face head-to-head pricing, sometimes NetApps, they're willing to go to the bottom and beat you in price. But let's look at the back end when we have to worry about service contracts, when we have to look at maintenance, administrative costs, when we have to look at power. All these other factors really turn into be huge benefits over a long period of time. So $1,000 upfront win for NetApps is a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 loss on the back end. So we have to really understand that when we make the fight, Amber Road against EMC NetApp, it's not an upfront fight cost-wise, it's a back-end fight cost-wise.
Dean, this is some great information. Appreciate you joining us on this segment. That'll bring to a close this episode of Tech Tidbits. Again, be sure to join us next time when we conclude our three-part series on Sun's Amber Road solution. We'll be focusing on deploying Amber Road and the Sun 7000 series on-site at the end customer, and also what it means for partners in terms of going deeper and wider in accounts after you've installed the 7000 series. Tech Tidbits with Jeff Lampe and Dean Miles has been an exclusive production of Arrow Enterprise Computing Solutions. For more, log on to marketing-masters.net. Have a great day, everybody.